Bartenders of Reddit, what is the smoothest pickup line you've ever heard? For more infotainment, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to get new video updates. Thanks for watching. Sort of an anti-pickup line, but I witnessed a drunk girl get decimated at the bar one night. She was hot, and one of those haha you're cute you should buy me a drink type girls. Some dumpy looking dude walks up to the bar and orders a Corona, and she pulls the hole and put a rum and coke on there for me, insinuating that he should buy her next drink. He looked at her casually and says make it a rum and diet. And then just walks away. I was speechless. I'd never seen him before and haven't seen him since. Sometimes I wonder if he ever existed at all. Not a good pickup line, but a good pickup line story. There's a classic, which is putting an ice cube on the bar, smashing it with your fist and saying that's the ice broken, want to get a drink? Well, an awkward friend of mine decided to try it, smashed the ice and managed to ricochet a piece of it into his own eye before being able to say the line, shouted a profanity and staggered off. The girl was pretty confused. Shy girl regularly comes in with her friend. My coworker and I are pretty chummy with them, so we are chatting all night, letting them try some of the new cocktails/shots our bar is trialing. We give them one particular shot and the friend says she doesn't like it too much and asks if it's the kind of drink my girlfriend likes. I was single. Shy girl picks up her shot, downs it and says yes, it is, then immediately runs out of the building in shyness. We've been dating almost 6 months now. Bartender here. Best pickup I've ever seen was when a group of 3 dudes college-aged were at the bar on my end. They started talking about this girl on the other side who is clearly the hottest girl in the bar. One of them jokingly said to another, if you can get her number without saying a word to her, I'll buy you drinks the rest of the night. The kid who was dared waved me down, asked for a pen and napkin. He walked over and within 10 minutes came back over, girl in hand, asking his buddy who bet him for 2 patron shots. I asked him what he did and he showed me the napkin with her number. He played hangman on the napkin and spelt out, "Can I have your number?" And it actually worked. He and his girl were drinking heavily and for free the rest of the night. He also walked out with her, so I hope he scored. Not exactly a pickup line, but really clever/cool way a girl let me know she was interested. I noticed her on the opposite side of the bar and we smiled at each other. I was newly single, she was with a date and obviously bored. Still, she was with a date, and I'm not gonna interrupt and be that kind of douchebag. After a few minutes, I walked around to her side of the bar to head to the bathroom. She stopped me and said, "Here, your pocket square is messed up." She fumbled with it a sec, said all good, and I moved on to the restroom. I got home later and took my blazer off. Noticed something was off the pocket square. She had stealth stashed a napkin with her name and number. I texted that night and we went out later that week. 11/10 was impressed with the smooth. Super late to the party, but this is one I can answer. And it just happened a few weeks ago. I cocktail at a bowling alley. A group of high school kids were bowling one night. A bunch of them had class of 2017 shirts or hoodies on. I got off work and walked to the front desk to clock off. One of the boys from that group walks up behind me with a bowling ball in each hand and asks if I can do him a favor. I was caught off guard and it was a little random, but I was like, sure. So he motions with one bowling ball hand to his hoodie pocket and asks me to grab his phone out for him. And I'm a little skeptical, but I reach in with my pointer and thumb and grab it and set it on the counter for him and continue to clock out. But then the kid says, "Wait, can you unlock it for me?" So, I do. And then he asks me to go to the phone, dial, "Actually, will you go to the contacts? Now, just put in your number for me." I feel so terrible. I'm pretty sure I humiliated the poor kid, but I apologized and told him that I'm married. He was a cute boy, and 10 years ago when I was just getting out of high school that would totally have worked on me. I am not a bartender, but I saw this happen at a bar. I was sitting at a table with 2 of my friends, one girl, one guy. Some guy I have never seen before comes over, places 3 beers, one in front of each of us, and proceeds to start talking to my female friend. I assumed it was just one of her friends I had never met. It took me a solid 5 minutes to figure out this guy was a stranger, and then I was blown away with how smooth of a move that was. That guy is a legend. Not while I was at work, but was on a late train once and watched a tipsy woman chat a guy into getting off at the next stop to go to a pub that had a jazz band on tonight. I know the pub she named, and I know full well there was no jazz band on that night. That lady was hot and that guy was super lucky. Edit. A jazz band is not a thing, people. I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't go see one if I heard about it. EDIT2, a jazz band is a thing in Star Wars. Please let my rest, nerds. Dude comes up to the bar, points to a smoke and asks me to get her a cup of ice water without telling her what it was and saying it was from him. She gets the drink, looks over at the guy, and they both smile at each other. Then she takes a sip and her face becomes full of utter confusion and utfdom. Guy walks over, smiles and says, "Just making sure you're staying hydrated." They both laugh and later on end up violently making out. Violently making out. Tables are splintered, people cower in their booths. Bottles smash against the wall. Carnage. Trauma. Not a bartender, but was at a bar with 3 friends a few years ago, and one of the waitresses was deaf. We watched a guy go up to her, sign some stuff to her. She smiled and excitedly wrote something down, handed it to him and walked away. He walked by us, showed us the number and said 4 years of sign language in high school finally paid off for once. Edit. To everyone who's commented something about phone number, there's a thing called texting. Maybe I'm being a dummy, but wouldn't it be pretty difficult to be a deaf waitress? Do all the customers have to write their orders down on their phones or something? I handed a cute customer 2 pints of beer. He fumbled and inevitably dropped one, spilling it all over me. Looked at me with his cutest smile and said if I pretended I did that on purpose so I could use the "let's get you out of those wet things" line, would you laugh or throw me out? I laughed, and he spent the rest of the evening being sent to the bar by his friends to buy every single round, so that he could flirt more. We went on a date a week later, and were together for nearly 4 years. This line worked on me. I'm the bartender in this situation. Guy buys a drink for himself and the girl next to him. I ring him up, and as I'm handing him the receipt, the girl looks me dead in the eyes and says, "I was just telling him how you look like you probably have a really nice." I literally didn't know how to react, and as I'm standing there she kinda slaps this dude's arm and was like, "Tell him I'm serious." He just nods, clearly not knowing how to react either, but confirming that she had, in fact, told him that I looked like I probably had a nice. She hung around my corner of the club until close and then asked me straight up if I'd be interested in coming home with her, and said if I wasn't then no worries, have a good night. It was so direct and to the point that I had no issue going home with her, so I did, and we've met up a couple more times since. It's not a pickup line, but when I was working as a bartender I witnessed something pretty epic/hilarious. A good mate of mine was at the bar, and he's a pretty stingy guy, so he doesn't spend too much when out on the town, and usually doesn't get piss drunk. So yeah, my mate's been at the bar all night, chatting to friends and other random patrons, and there is this total babe sitting on the other side of the bar from him that's been eyeing him all night. I have no idea if he's even aware of her or not. So she's been sitting there for ages, sort of waiting for something to happen, just sipping on her lolly drink. No dudes have bothered to approach her or anything so far. This keeps up for a bit, and then this buff scary looking guy comes to the bar, totally wasted, and asks me for a beer. He asks me quietly what the hot lady's been drinking and tells me to get her another one. He pays up and goes to the bathroom or some place. I give the lady the drink and tell her it's compliments of a gentleman admirer, lol, and she just looks straight at my mate. Being the total miser that he is, he just nods at her and cracks a sly grin. She walks up to him and they start chatting, and 2 minutes later they leave together. Meanwhile, the big guy comes back and sees the lady missing, and promptly orders himself another drink. LOL. Edit. Wow, This is my highest rated comment ever. And even when it's just a story of him, my friend still wins. Damn.